Let's first do type 1. First, I need to show you the cursor here. You see my cursor? That's the horizontal, flat, lying flat. Soon as I get into a cell is these brackets here. If I go inside, it becomes vertical. So now, if I pass through these two cells here, it will become flat briefly, like now. And then it becomes vertical again. So by looking at the cursor shape, you know you're inside the cell or outside the cell, inside the cell. So here, I'm going to go outside the cell. Well, in your case, you must have a blank screen, so it doesn't matter where you go, you're outside. But let's go to outside here, and then click so that you can start typing. So where I will start typing has this plus sign and this faint bar here. Okay, so what I'm going to start typing is classify. But in Mathematica, the first letter of any command is always a capital letter. So it's a C, capital C, L-A-S-S. But as you noticed, soon as you type the first two letters, all the commands that match that first two letters show up like this. So you don't have to type all the way. You could just click here, and then it will fill in for you. But I'm not filling in yet because I want to do something. Actually, let's fill in. So not only can I click to fill in, I could have used my mouse to choose which one I want. So in this case, I want this one here. So I will just choose this and press Enter key. Soon as I do this here, I get these. These are help. So this is a documentation. So I want you to click this here. And the documentation for classify shows up here. In case you missed it here, so please back up and then choose this, or you can click this too. Let's click this. Then it will fill in and it will open classify documents for me. Okay, so we are going to use the sample code of the documentation to illustrate this supervised learning concept here. So let's scroll down and go and do something very simple. So go here, click, and it says copied. Now you can come here. Now you got to go under this classify here. You see this, my cursor is now horizontal. Click, then paste. Control V or Command V. Now this cell is wide because it has extra space, extra line coming in here. I do not like to waste the space here. So what I do is I do backspace. I click here, make sure that this is blinking, and then I backspace. That way it takes only one cell width, one cell height. Okay, then I go here and press Shift Enter. If I just press Enter, you will see this happening. That's not what I want. You press Shift key and then Enter key. I accidentally clicked another key here. So here we go. Let me back out. Oh, it's another cell. Okay, so let me delete the cell that I do not need. See, I'm selecting the cell here and pressing the delete key. There we go. So I did this here. Okay, then what I have is a training set. I told you the supervised learning trains data, and this is how you train it. You say number 1 is a category A. Number 2 is category A. 3.5 is B, and so on. That's the training. Huh? Okay, then what do we do with it? Let's go to the next one. And then let's click here so that it gets copied. Make sure that I'm in a new cell here. Click and then paste. I got this. I still got this extra space, which bothers me. May not bother you, then you can ignore it. And I do backspace. Okay. Then I do Shift Enter. Then this is being trained. We are doing our first machine learning. This may take a while, but it will come back when you wait. Here it is. So what? What did it do? Here's an example of it, but we can type it ourselves. By the way, this is a suggestion bar, which usually tells something useful about what we could do next year. But in our case, we are not going to use this because I know what we are going to do. So we'll minimize it. But if you need it for any reason, you can always click this to get it back. Or you can get rid of it. You can always go back and forth. Okay, so C became a classifier function. Huh? What does that mean? C, I typed it. It's lowercase because it's not Mathematica's built-in function. It's something we assign. You could have called anything here. You could have called it chicken, and this would be chicken. As long as these two match, it doesn't matter what they are. Now, I'm going to open bracket. Not parenthesis, not curly bracket, but the bracket. Okay, then I'm going to ask it a question. Is 1 a class A or class B? Okay, I'm closing the bracket here. I need to match the brackets always. So now they are matched. Okay, so ask it by doing Shift Enter. But before you do it, what would it say? Would it say it's A or B? Obviously it's A. You said so. 1 is class A. Duh. So when you ask it, it will say it's class A. Okay, let's do some duh exercise. C of 4 and Shift Enter. It knows. You trained it. 4 is B, so it will say so. There we go. But let's get tricky now. What is C of 0? You never said it. Would it still know? Would it infer that the numbers say between, say, below 3 are A's and above 3 are B's? Is that right? Is that the right way of thinking? Let's see. Shift Enter. Oh, it says it's A. Oh, let's go all the way. C of negative 200. This machine learning never saw a negative number. Still, would it be able to infer correctly? Let's see. Shift Enter. It got it. Okay, then let's go to the other extreme. What about C of 100? Would it know what it is? It does. So these are clear cases. What if we get tricky? So what if I want to know C of 3? What do you say? Is it A or B? C of 3. I would say it's closer to this guy. So I would say it's come out to be B. It did. But then again, you can push it now. C of, let's see, between them here. If I add them, it's 5.5. So if I divide it, it would be 2.7 something. So let's do 2.7. Now it says A. Okay. What if it's 2.8? Oh, there's a borderline. 7 is A. 7.8 is B. That's very interesting. But that's not all. These were clear cases where it knew what number 1 was. And these are also, in a way, clear cases because it's a push to the limit of one side here. But these were kind of delicate in-between cases. Let's do C of 2.8. So, did it hesitate? Did it ponder with what to say? Just like we do? We looked carefully here. Oh, is it closer to here, closer to there? What do I say? Whereas these ones were easy. So yes, the answer is you can figure out what confidence it had. So you can go and comma. See, I entered right after the number, but before the bracket here. And I'm doing quotation mark and type probabilities. I'm doing this one here. So I'm typing probabilities. Probabilities. There we go. When I do this here, it will tell you the truth. It thinks it's A with the 100% probability. And this is B with very small number. That is, there's a 8 zeros in front of 2. That's how it's 0.000000 and so on. You will see something similar. Now I will get lazy and copy this here. I'm copying from the comma and go all the way to the end of the quotation mark. And I copied it. When I paste it here, you will say it's B with such confidence also. Look at that. It's 99.999%. percent, and this is near 0, and so on. These will all display that kind of a super confidence. Shall we go 0? Wow, it's so far out that there's no chance it's going to be B. But let's go to this delicate ones here. 3 was already kind of in between, you see. So when I do this here, let's see what kind of a confidence it had. Oh, it's a B with 93, not 99. It's 93% confidence. And it was a C, it was A with small. It's only less than 7%, but still, there's some probability. But when it comes to these delicate ones, let's see what it says. What was his confidence? Wow, it's only 60%. Slightly better than coin flip. And this is slightly worse than coin flip. What about a 2.8? What kind of probability did it have? It's reversed. It's a 64%. So now you can push this here. Rather than typing the whole thing, if I press Control L, it will copy the previous line for me. On the Mac is Command L. So I'm going to go march in between these two here. I will go 7, 5 now. Okay. What does it say? It says it's A, but it's barely. So now let's make it a little bigger. 7, 6. It says, 4, 5. Okay. Still, it's a B, sorry. I had to lower it to go to closer to. So let's do 7, 4. Okay. Now it's a barely A. And barely missed being B. So this must be truly borderline. But this is obliged to tell you one or the other. So this goes to show you cannot trust what the machine says. It may be flipping coin. It would be so close to each other that it would do you well to see the probability or its confidence that it is classified as something. So now it's barely A here. I will make it slightly bigger now. Okay? And see what happens. Oh boy. Now it's barely B. So let's make it 4 here. Make it a little bit smaller. Now this is, I'm just pushing the limit. They are virtually tied, but still, if I didn't say the probabilities here, I'm pressing Control L or Command L, and then get rid of the probabilities here, it will say it is B when I do this here. Does it mean that you can trust the output of the computer here? No, this B is very different from this B, because this B was near 100%. Probabilities. Like that. Look at that. It was 100%. Very different ones. But usually, the predictions or forecast we see only shows these variables, what kind of class they belong, without telling you these probabilities. So now that you've seen this here, I want you to experiment with more numbers and also go back and change these numbers. You can give it a hard time. You can just do this here and say, let's say 1, 0. This arrow, by the way, is written as a minus sign and then greater sign. Then it turns into arrow automatically. Did you see that? Minus sign and then greater than sign. Greater than sign is this one. So when I did minus and then greater, without any space in between, they become arrow like that. Okay. So if I say 0 is B, now this is confusing, isn't it? 0 is supposed to be on the other side. So what is it going to do? Shall we mess it up like that? Okay, that's the data, and let's train it. Okay, now let's see how it messes up. So what does it think 1 is? See, 1 is no longer peacefully lodged in the land of A, because right left of it, there's a 0, which is B. So let's see. Shift, Enter, here. Now it's thoroughly confused. It's a half-half. Doesn't know what to say. Okay, I'd like to see what it says, actually. Control L, Command L to copy the previous line, and then let's see what it says. It says it's B. So if the data is confusing, your prediction will also be confused. So please enter all kinds of situations and give it this torture test and see how this performs. You should also have easy cases as well as hard cases to see how it responds. You will understand how machines behave, and you will maybe lose some confidence about what machines predict.